So the session is being recorded, so they can watch it later on. So please let's remember the ground rules. Very, very important. And quickly, I'll be introducing our facilitator for today's session. His name is Mr. Alfred Akerele. He has over a decade of experience in the non-profit sector, holding significant roles with local, national, and global humanitarian and media organizations. He is a seasoned professional who drives impactful change through strategic project management, resource mobilization, and policy advocacy. His expertise spans sustainable development, civic engagement, education, media, public health, economic development, climate change, and social inclusion. Alfred has mentored young people through various projects, including the Youth Leadership Development Program by LEAP Africa. He served as a judge at the 2023 Enactus Nigeria National Competition, the Government Media Fellowship by Budget Foundation, and the Queen's Commonwealth Essay Competition in 2024. In 2022, the Nigeria Youth Futures Fund awarded him an individual grant for his dedication to youth engagement. In his career, he has secured and managed grants worth millions of dollars from prominent international donors. Alfred is a resource mobilization consultant and works as a grant analyst at the Nigeria Economic Summit Group. Alfred excels in adhering to organizational policies, delivering high quality results. Can we start clapping already, please? And collaborating with diverse team to achieve organizational objectives. You see, this one is follow no road, right? If you want someone to teach you grant writing, it has to be someone who has demonstrated experience, demonstrated capacity, and has the capability, right, to give you what you don't have. Mr. Alfred Akerele, we are honored to have you here. Welcome, sir. Kindly take the stage. So I'm going to stop presenting.
Thank you, sir. All right, good afternoon, everyone. Just to be sure we can now see me, just 1 minute. Mr. Paul, can you hear me? Just confirm.
Yes, loud and clear.
Okay, right. So do I have your permission to start presenting?
Yes, sir. Yes, you do.
All right, so let me just share my screen and present from my end. All right, by the way, I listened to is a recap now. I want to target a recap actually, because when people say, oh, we've attended 3, we've attended 2, it means, can you see my screen? Kindly confirm you can see my screen.
Yes.
All right. Okay, good. So, listening to people saying, oh, we've attended 2, we've attended 3, interesting. I just believe that our contribution here is going to help a lot of young persons to really understand what it means to be within the space and the ecosystem. So that's just like a background for me to encourage us to really put our best to learning. Some of us that grew to all of those things Mr. Paul was reading. I mean, it's not just going to be a day job or a year job. Yeah, it takes a while of learning and relearning, having to unlearn again, to now put some things back as relearning systems. So thank you so much for having me. Thank you, Aquaworld. Thank you, Oga Paul. Myself and Paul has been together, and so I used to call him my Oga, even though he will always call me his Oga, but that's what it is. And that's why the relationship we built over the years actually brought us, to a level of having a conversation like this, right? So thank you, everyone. A brief of my story before I started, making waves in the resource mobilization ecosystem is that I started as a rookie volunteer. When I say rookie volunteer, I'll explain better. Rookie volunteer means that you volunteer with every organization. Either it's fitting with your line of work, your principle, your philosophy about life, your passion, but you just want to volunteer. You just want to participate in the SDGs. You want to support, you want to make change, you want to, do a lot of I have passion for better Nigeria. I have passion for young people. I have passion for secondary school. I have passion for climate change, action, environment, health, agri, energy, power, a lot of things, drives our passion. So I have passion because not because my name is Alfred actually, but I have passion because I believe my little contribution matters a lot, right? So that's why I put in all my best to start as a volunteer. So some few years back, close to 13, 14 years back, I volunteer with voluntary services overseas, VSO Nigeria. Proud to that, I've been working, volunteering on HIV programming. Interestingly, I started as a peer educator while I was in secondary school. I mean, high school for people joining maybe from the UK or from the US. So I did that in my high school, and that passion grew to now volunteering with international organizations, with national organizations. I volunteer across different thematic area, right? And from there, the passion grew to now working as a professional project manager. So I used to also work as a KM person, knowledge management person, support, technical research and so many other things around knowledge management for organizations. So all of these grew. I'm taking you through this journey so that you understand transitioning. So all of this grew for a decade. I mean, I work in this space from volunteer to an intern. So I also think I used to intern with Yaga. I did the internship with Yaga Africa. I on legislative, civic engagement and the like. So I've also observed a lot of elections in Nigeria. I mean, a lot of elections, 2011 till date. So I've been observing elections in Nigeria. So from that, the passion grew. And when the passion grew to that stage, I discovered I needed to now align my passion with what will benefit both professionally, and academically, right? So I dropped KM, I dropped monitoring and evaluation, I rose to projects and programs, right? So while I was working on projects and programs, from program officer, program manager, senior program coordinator, this and that with different organizations across different states in Nigeria. So that actually exposed me to resource mobilization, grant writing, proposal writing, right? So from that, you can't be a program officer, a project manager, and you don't have idea of what resource mobilization means because the Africa system, the Nigeria system of development or non-profits depend largely on donor funding. And that's why the all of us are screaming, we're all screaming, and we are still screaming, right? When Donald Trump actually removed the shock absorber, you want to say that in palace language in Nigeria, USAID saga, the USCDC saga, and all other US funding agency, right? So when that happened, we were like screaming because the development sector in Nigeria largely and in Africa, globally, largely depends on donor funding. And that's why I got exposed to it. I picked interest in it and I started writing. It's different from content creation, actually. Content creator and the like. So when you create content, you create for social media purposes, but you're not writing proposal or developing grant for media purposes, right? So I started and I picked the interest. I was learning, writing, and so one of the interesting shifts of my journey was when I started working solely to manage project now. So when I manage projects, I have bosses that will tell me, you're managing a project, and if this project ends, your work ends with us. And how best do you sustain the organization, increase partnership, increase revenue mobilization for the organization. So, that's really pushed me to now learn. And a few years ago, I have to transit fully to resource mobilization, either as a consultant. And currently, I work with Nigeria Economic Summit Group, right, as a grant analyst. So, guys, that's a bit of my journey. The message there is that you can transit anytime you want to transit, but it takes a lot of effort to transit. I transited. Sometimes I spend 2 hours, 3 hours on YouTube, learning. I paid, I have some of my coaches in the US. Um, 2 days ago, I got a new coach that's it's a professor of how many years? 25 years, Professor Drake in the US. He saw my post on LinkedIn and picked interest. We started having conversation, and now he's my new coach. So learning around resource mobilization, grant writing, proposal development is never going to stop, except you just want to grant yourself as the local champion. So guys, as you learn, this may not be like an absolute course. I mean, all of the topic I'm going to address here, they are like 2 hours or 3 hours courses that should be well, addressed. But I'm going to try my best to do justice, a bit, and as we move on. All right. So thank you so much. It's gonna be an interactive conversation, actually. So I don't know if I'm permitted to do that, Mr. Paul. Paul, please let me know if I'm permitted to interact. Yeah.
Yes, yes, sir. Yes. The floor is
Good.
yours.
Thanks. Yeah, so I just want someone to just tell us when you hear grant or proposal writing, what comes to your head? Let's pick 2 persons. When you hear that grant proposal writing, what comes to your head? Um, Anyone can go. If you want me to call your name, that's fine. I think I can see a few persons here. Let me just put my screen very well. Oh, okay, good. So I can see more people now with this. All right, so I have Peter Power. Wow, that's a very strong name. Peter Power. I have a lot to do. Jacinta. I have Jacinta. So guys, you want to say something, Sunny? Adedeji Oluwatosi, Oluwayomi, Aziz, I have Jacob, I have Deborah, I have Blessing. Guys, you want to say what comes to your mind? Yeah, please go ahead and unmute yourself and say something. Shall I leave Paul to start calling him by himself since he knows everybody on this call?
Can I speak?
Go ahead, please, Bash. Yeah, you have the floor.
So basically, and anytime I heard the word grants, I thought of support in form of finance or contribution.
Great.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you, Bash. I mean, that's spot on. We are looking for money, guys. That's the summary. It's a contribution. Either it's gonna be finance or financial contribution or non-financial. So, but it's grants for a purpose. I want to hear that purpose actually. What makes it a grant and not a loan or a counterpart financial contribution or something? So, yeah, who is speaking again? Go ahead, Paul Olatiji. Go ahead, please.
Oh, yeah. Oh, thank you for the opportunity. I think grant is different from loan and other financial support in the sense that you don't have to pay back. So it's the grant is for development and to do is to perform a specific maybe to complete a specific project, and you don't
Okay.
have to pay back that money. So
Great. So what you said is very right. You don't have to pay back, but interestingly, your grant award can be terminated and you're requested to refund. That's what is obtainable now due to checks and balances, transparency, accountability. I mean, so many components around that. But in the real sense, grants are resources available that you don't have to pay back. You are using it for a particular purpose, initiative, and the like. So yeah, okay, last person, Oyinda Mola. Yeah, go ahead, please. So we
Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon, sir. So basically, my understanding of grants is this actually funds that we apply for. But basically, before we apply for these funds, we actually are going to outline our organizational goals, what we intend to use the money to do, and
yeah.
why we need the money, basically, before we can apply. So that's what that's what I understand by grants.
All right, thank you. So I'm going to say that it's a free money in quotes. It's actually not a free money, but there is a free money or free resources available to your organization in quotes. Does not mean you can spend it anyhow. So you're spending because it aligns with your organization goal and objective. You are spending because your organizational goal and objective aligns with what the donor or the funder or the person giving you such money or such financial aid, want to do, right? So, right, these are my definitions. Sometimes I can just be very funny to define some stuff, but you guys should just manage this. We are not going to write exam at the end of this, so don't worry. Right, so the first thing I said is a written document compiled to market. So first, you're compiling, you're building a very strong document to market your organization. Second, you are building a very strong document to pitch an idea, right? And from my hand, third, you are compiling this document to sell an initiative or a project idea to prospective funders or donor agency. This is actually grant for question, and this is grant for what you are collecting the money for a value. Yeah, there is a value exchange system, right? That is not going to be negotiable. So when you collect that money, for instance, you can collect money for education projects and you are using it for after party, something or health projects. Interesting. You can so if you're collecting for education project or a climate change project, you're gonna use it directly for the project as stipulated either in form of timeline, work plan, framework, all of this, you're gonna get some of these insights as we proceed. So that is the first definition. I also put a plan of suggestion, especially a formal or written one put forward for consideration by others. So the others there, they are still donors, funding organization, either in the form of INGO. Interestingly, there are a lot of corporate organizations for their corporate social responsibility stuff, right? That's we request you to submit grants or to submit a proposal for you to have access to some of this money. MTN Foundation does a lot. I mean, all of these banks, they have foundations and they have a particular department that does their CSR, corporate social responsibility. So they also request, but you have to put all of this together in written form. Either you're giving a template or you are writing in form of concept notes and the likes. And lastly, a proposal or a grant is a marketing document that establishes a relationship between two or more partners, right? So you're creating, you are not just collecting grant from them because, oh, they have free money they want to give to you, or they have free aids they want to support you with. You're also creating a long-lasting relationship. So sometimes that's why you see some of these agencies that gives grants, they will also tell you, oh, we are interested in the sustainability part of the organization. So sometimes they support with technical experts. They bring so many resources. Sometimes they can even go as far as say, oh, do you need a laptop? Do you need an office desk? Do you need printer? They also support, but all of these are stemmed from, relationship. And I said, establish a relationship between two or more partners on a project that we add value. So this is very important. I think I need to stress this a bit. Value proposition of grants is never compromised, right? Why are you getting money? So you identify a problem, for instance, in Lagos, oh, the flooding in Lagos is an issue, right? And there is a particular community that is being affected badly. So you, okay, so let me use Marco Polo because I've had to work with a lot of persons projects in Marco Polo community. So the problem in Marco Polo community is actually a lot. And why are you getting grant? You're getting grant because you want to solve the problem. That's the value part, right? So, and maybe to cap it up, it provides detailed information on how to address the research problem. Not necessarily a research problem, but if you want to do a thorough work to get grants, to get funding from organization, you have to do what we call needs assessment, right? So needs assessment helps you to know the end point of the problem, the beginning and the end point. So what is the cause of this problem? Why is this problem still existing? So what has gone to it? Interestingly, Marco Polo is still where Marco Polo is today, but I can tell you for free that millions of dollars has been taken to that place to resolve whatever is going on. And for some of you in the south part of Nigeria, you know what's going on in the Ogoni land, right? So we've been hearing Ogoni land, environmental pollution, this and that, but the problem is still there. Why? Because no one is considering value, so that's just what it is. Nigeria for you, I mean, the whole Africa. So it's really interesting that we've had many Africans coming out to release video on Twitter X, and Elon Musk has been posting saying, "Oh, the USA is not coming to us. The money is just going. People are just earning fat salary and the like." So that's where the value is not identified. But when the value is identified, whatever you get in as grants or as resources goes to the grassroots, the people, so what we call the target audience within the ecosystem. All right, so the type of grant, I think one of the questions I sent out, I asked, what are the type of grants or proposal application? Does anyone want to help? I know some of you on this call, you're experts, so don't worry. Let's just walk through this together. All right, types of grant proposal application that you're aware of, you've written before you submitted, perhaps you won before now. Who is going to help us with that? I mean, no wrong answers. Just say as it's coming to you. All right. Do we have anyone to help us with that?
Hello, good afternoon, sir.
Deborah, please go ahead. Hi, good afternoon.
Yes. The two type of grants I'm actually aware of is the entrepreneur and the academic grants.
Okay, so we have that's from your end, right? That's what you actually know about
Yes.
it.
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
that's good. Thank you so much. Do we have any other person that wants to tell us the types of grants, where any other person? So we just go ahead. Guys, let's move because of time. So either academic grant, research, project implementation, just name the business grants, available resources for entrepreneurship, edutech, just mention all of those thematic area. I'm going to summarize them into two. We have just two, and this is just Alfred, guys. I'm not here to debate with everyone. So we have to from a resource mobilization level. We have solicited and unsolicited. And so when I say solicited, I mean literally your English phrase or register or understanding, what it means to solicit, right? So you appeal or you beg for something or you make a case for something. And unsolicited, maybe I just want to give you something and it's not there's no too many official gauge to it, right? So but let's move on as we define some of this. So for solicited grants, I said there are grant applications that are duly published, advertised. So please note, guys, of course, there are some of these solicited grants that are not published, but you can't get like 5% of them. So solicited are always published, they are always advertised. So that's why you see a lot of applications call for proposals, call for this, call for that. So I said, yeah, published, advertised by particular donor for specific program and thematic area. So for instance, the USAID or the USCDC or Africa CDC, Center for Disease Control, or NACA, for people in the health sector, for people in education sector, you have British Council, EduTech, you have MasterCard, you have a lot of these organizations. So they are putting out some of these advertisements for contractors. So we call recipient contractors. So they are looking for contractors to implement projects in specific area for specific purposes. I know Paul has worked with the National Geo, Nat Geo, and a lot of corporate organization, right, on environmental pollution, especially around the oceans and the likes. And he's done a lot of projects within that sector, especially in Ondo State and the like. So some of these bids, right? Some of these bids either by FCDO, by USAID, by African Development Bank, by World Bank, by UN, all of these UN or European Union agencies, they are for specific programs. So sometimes they can say civic education. So that's why you see during an election in Nigeria, you see a lot of all of these international partners, right? So they come to Nigeria basically to help our democratic process, to enhance good governance, transparency, accountability sometimes, to also, make some little contributions to our civic understanding in Nigeria. That's why you see trainings here and there. You see people recruiting for election observers. So this funding are solicited and they are meant for particular, uh, purpose or purposes. So they are usually through CFA. So CFA is called for application for people that want to that writing. RFP is request for proposals. So the organization that will just put RFPs, CFAs, and the likes. There are a lot of terminologies that we use to balance things up in this direction, right? So, for instance, I just put this here because it's still ongoing right now. It's a current bid that is ongoing. The AU, Africa Union, European Union Action Grant. This is an open call and it's solicited. Someone was speaking for one of my clients from Zimbabwe. We're actually discussing, I think, 3 days ago, and she was like, "Oh, during the call, Alfred, you need to see people. They want to pick, I think, 16 or 15 or less than that organization. And about 200 persons were on the call listening to the debrief and the orientation from the donor. So, it's a bid, and that's why it's a bid. Solicited are always bids. So it goes through a lot of process and it has so many it has so many components to it. So for you to win solicited deals, sometimes you have to be on the top of the game. You have to know what you're doing, the organization's goal objective, how does it align, and what problem do you want to solve? How have you identified the problem? What are your methodology, your procedure, your technical experts, and the like? So I put this here for any organizations that are interested in working on youth development, civic youth inclusion, youth participation in democratic process, good governance, and the like. So you may want to shoot your shot. And I think this is divided into four. There is an innovation grant, there is an entrepreneurship grant, there is a cooperative or something grant, and so it's divided into four. So you may want to take leverage on this opportunity. But all of this is just for me to explain a solicited bid or grant to you. It comes sometimes from UNICEF. I've talked about the UN agency, and it can. So interestingly, some of our corporate organizations are also now doing that. They are leveraging on solicited to build their bills, right? So that's why you can see M10 Foundation saying they are doing something and they want organization to apply. You see the communication guys, you see the tech guys, Microsoft. I have a bid from Google They want to give financial aid for organizations that are able to do. I have a bid for HP that I'm working on right now. I think that's about $100,000 or something. So yeah, guys, this opportunity has scattered across the internet. It's just for you to get them. And my own little contribution to getting there is I do a lot of posting on my LinkedIn page. So every month, and I think half month, I release solicited fee or grants that are within that month. So this is the last one I did for February. You may want to take a look. Go to my LinkedIn page. Check for the ones that are aligned with your organization, the one that aligns with your area of interest, and put in for it, right? So if you're not an expert, you may need an expert to write for you. Just ensure. And the first thing in all of this is that you must understand what is the grant for, right? So sometimes for those of us that write grants, we spend more time reading the call for application or the request for proposal document than even writing, because when you have clear understanding of what the donor wants, you know how to crafting it. And that's why I said if we need to separate content creation or creators or any of these social media visibility techniques from grant writing. And it's absolutely different from technical writing sometimes or most times. You are not writing reports. And you are writing, and that's where solicited actually, there's anything like the problem for solicited grants. These are areas it comes from, right? You are writing for someone else to read and accept your initiative. You see, it's a real lot of work, right? The person that is reading, perhaps you send it to the US. The guy has never visited the African continent. But you want to convince her to, give you $100,000. Guys, you need to understand that it's not just about, oh, I know how to write. Some of us that know how to write, we've not been winning anything. For people that really understand the nitty-gritty and understand the tech, the real part of it, the technical part of it, you're definitely gonna get. So this is like a bonus for you guys. Go to my page and check for opportunities. So unsolicited grants. This is for me, this is actually the simplest. And there is no much bureaucracy for unsolicited grants, right? So there are grant opportunities that are not always published. They are not public, they are just folded grant opportunities. They are not published, they are not advertised, right? So you don't get to hear, you see that an organization is working on a project and how do you get this money? Just forget about it. No, don't forget about it. It's actually unsolicited opportunity. And I said it can be gotten through networking, technical partners, through individual influence. For instance, so let me use Paul. If Paul is working with UN, very simple, you can work with UN. So, all right, so if Paul is working with the UN, and I have a project, and is in charge of maybe a project in the UN, and I know, oh, Paul, Alpha, or Paul just called me and said, oh, Alfred, there's an opportunity. Do you have the capacity? So that it's an unsolicited grant doesn't erase the real technical evaluation that is within it. So it has to align with the organization. I remember when I won, I used to work with the ICI, our International Center for Investigative Reporting, right? So when I won the German embassy grant about a bit of dollars, thousands of dollars, so 800 and something dollars. So I went for a program. I think it was an advocacy visit. So we just went, interestingly, not for my organization actually. So it was a group and they invited me to go with them. So I was there, we're interacting with the embassy guys, and I got his contact. After getting his contact, I started having some personal conversation. So I sent him an email just to appreciate their warm welcoming, the audience, and the engagement for the meeting. And I used that opportunity to quickly tell him that I have an initiative I want to share with you, if you don't mind. And the guy said, oh, I should put a concept note together. And interestingly, two things. Quickly put it to work and develop it. Sent to him, he reviewed and he said, "Oh, this is a fantastic concept, but we don't have funding for this particular sector right now." I think a month after, I appreciated, let's keep talking, let's keep engaging. A month after, he sent to me, oh, there is an opportunity. We need to spend this also amount of money. And that's why I said, we have to build relationship. Networking is very important for you to get unsolicited because the informations are within a system. And if you don't have anybody in that system, you will not get it. So, let me just end this story. When he called and told me about it, I said, yes, we can do it. I mean, we can do it towards getting that amount of money. Within 4 months, I guess, we did the project and it was so awesome, right? But the money was a lot, even within that time frame. Why my story? My story is just to let you know that networking is very important if you want to get unsolicited. So you have friends working in corporate organizations that raising some of them are in the managerial level. They have all of this information, right? Coca-Cola Foundation is giving stuff, Pepsi, 7-Up, even to interest you that Indomie, all of these organizations, they have corporate social responsibility and they have particular area they are targeting. So if you have people inside all of these organizations, you can get it. If you have people, the embassies, the consulates, all of these are international organizations, international firms, international business companies. I think I saw a post recently that Piggy Best or OPay or one of these fintech companies, they were supporting a project, the SDG project of Lagos State Government. HP supported the food bank. All of these are unsolicited. You will not see Piggy Best or OPay saying, oh, call for application. Organizations come and apply. No. When you have inside information, you're able to get all of these opportunities, right? So thank you. Let's move. Please let me confirm again. Can you guys still hear me? Are we still together? Let
Yeah,
me be sure.
it's very good
Mr.
together.
Paul, great, thank you. All right, so what are the elements of good grant application? I want to write grants. I've had to attend to many organizations lately. You've been writing, you've not been receiving anything. All right, guys, you need to change your style, right? And how do you change your style? You started from elements of good grant application. So what do we see to know that, oh, this is like an expert work, right? Well, what we entice, like I said, I'm writing to someone in the US that has never been to Africa. The continent, the entire continent, not to talk of coming to Nigeria, right? And you want the person to know that what you are saying is real. You have the capacity. You want to convince that person. So, and the only thing, this is not what you call a virtual pitching process, right? Or an avenue for you to sell your idea by standing in front of a panel to talk, right? The only thing this guy is reading is what you have written and you send it to them, right, for review, for evaluation and the like. So the first thing, which is very important, storytelling. Guys, I can underemphasize and overemphasize storytelling. Storytelling is just so key that if you're able to tell a good story, you will definitely win anybody's heart and you will get your grant. Guys, storytelling. And so, because of time, I'm not going to explain much, but I'll just give you some points to note. In storytelling, you are not just marketing the bad side. Why you are telling your market, why you are stating the bad, what makes the entire problem bad, uh, uh, a bad stuff, right? So what makes it bad? You are also stating the implication of that bad process or that bad system or bad problem, right? So For instance, in Makoko community, so I'm going to use Makoko, and if you're from Ghana or from Tanzania, you can let me know. Or if you are from any of the Africa country, I can use your country. I have a bit of knowledge around some of the African food. So, but let's stick to Makoko. So when you are selling the story of Makoko, it's not just sell the entire band, or you trying to nail the government. The government has forgotten Makoko, this and that. No, but you are telling, you're also selling, telling the implication of that problem. So how has that problem affected children? How has the problem affected women, the vulnerable? How has the problem subject people to so much mess, or what you want to call derogatory situation, right? So, guys, you need to say your story and tell it very well. Be articulate about it, and make it. Don't just make it problematic, but make it solution oriented. So, after telling the bad side, after showing the implication that if this problem is not taken care of, 10,000 or 1,000 or 100 young people will die in the next 5 years because of bad waters. There is no proper toilet system for people to, guys do their stuff inside water, the same water they are drinking. So when you are showing the implication, you're also showing that, that that urgency. So we call it need urgency. So why should I give you that money within 2 months of sending your proposal? Because of the fact that you told us that if this problem is not solved within 3, 4, 5 months, within 1 year, a lot of life will be lost. So, guys, storytelling is a very good element. And the next one is data with tangible and recent source or sources. So, sorry, I forgot to add it to that. So, guys, when you tell your story with data, you already capture my attention and you get my mind, right? As a reader. So, you are not just saying in Makoko, 10,000 lives have been lost. Where do you get that from? Do you generate that, or you generating that from your head, or you have a research that? And that's why you remember I talked about needs assessment the other time. So needs assessments will help you to generate data. If you don't have tangible data, unfortunately, the data system in Africa, not just in Nigeria, is very poor. So we may not have access to all of this data. If you go to Lagos State Minister of Women Affairs, I know, and Social Welfare or something, who are in charge of children and vulnerable group, and ask them, what's the number of out of school children in Lagos or in any part? Even in the north, we know we have a lot of out of school children. We are banking on UNICEF data. No state, except I think I was listening to Christina State Governor 2 days ago, and he was saying, he's commissioned an independent research team or something, to do a proper register for, just to compile a register for the number of out of school children in Christina State. But we are banking on international data, right? So we need to also think about a system of building our data, which is by needs assessment. But beyond that, we also need to think about how to merge data with our storytelling, right? So data is very important, and data with source. So 10,000, Nigeria has a little above 18 million out of school children, right? So where am I getting that from? So I can easily say, from UNICEF report in 2021, 2022, 2023, you just have to, and sometimes you have to hyperlink or sublink all of this data. So when the donor or the person reading your report, or sorry, your submitted proposal or grant is reading, he or she is also able to click and see, interestingly, so UNICEF has published this data before. Yeah, we have the NBS, the National Bureau of Statistics in Nigeria. We have other data, the economic data. We have World Bank. We have IMF. The organization also do a lot of research. NESD do a lot of research around economic data, human capital development advice. So that's that about data. Technical phrases and register. Guys, this is also very important. While I was preparing for this presentation, something actually came to my mind. Many of us will say, "Oh, we are doing projects." What as a resource mobilization, resource mobilization consultant, right? That's what it's actually. So when I read something like "we are doing," you are putting that in your proposal and you are doing. What are you doing? So in grant writing, the element of phrase and register is very important. So what you call jargons in English, right? So we have medical jargons, we have agri jargons, we have tech jargons, okay? Just to ensure that there is a code that is not actually revealed to everybody, but you understand some of this code and you're able to apply it. So you don't say you are doing a project. You can either be implementing a project or you are initiating a project, right? So all of these things matters, you implement, you initiate, you are not doing like we are going, some of these things, and you are not doing workshop, you are building people's capacity, right? So some people just say we are. So the summary is that there are terms, there are terminologies, there are phrases, there are registers that are applicable when writing. So we need to learn all of this before we start writing. I just cited an example. You don't say you are doing, you're either implementing or you are initiating a project, right? So the fourth is alignment with requests for proposals and thematic area. This is also, you can have a very good storyline. You have data, you can write, you can craft very well, and everything you are saying is not aligned with the RFP, the request for proposal. I cited an example the other time. I said, if I'm giving money out for education projects, you crafted a very lovely story on health projects. You've just wasted your time. That money is not going to come to you. Why? Your storyline is different from what we are interested in, right? So our thematic area is different from that. The call is different from that. Also, if our call is for 18 to 25 years or 35 years, and you are crafting a storyline, you're submitting requests for target audience around 40 to 50 to 60, you are not going to get it, right? So guys, that's why I also informed you the other time that you need to spend time to read your RFP, your CFRA, and every document that is attached with your solicited or even unsolicited. Sometimes even when you get some of this unsolicited in form of concept note submission, they will still tell you, oh, okay, so you have to flesh it up and develop a proposal around it. Sometimes they will give you templates. And the good thing is, even for solicited organization, they will give you templates. They will give you their template, their narrative template, their work plan template, their budget template, their MIE template sometimes, and maybe risk and other mitigation factor, maybe just for you to tell them how you mitigate, all of this. Another thing is work plan. Work plan will tell them how you want to implement the step-by-step implementation process, right? So work plan will explain the who, the where, the when, the where, right? So, and the how, very important. So that is just like the preliminary indicators we want to see on your work plan. But I know sometimes it goes beyond that. Now stating your objective, your inputs, your outcome, your activities, beneficiaries, what are the metrics to measure impact, expected outcome, output, all of these things are there. But for a layman or for a broader understanding, your work plan should explain who is responsible for this and that, where is it going to happen, when is it going to happen, and where is it going to happen, and how is it going to happen. So, guys, that is about work plan. Evaluation framework. This is very important. You are not just getting grants. to spend or to divert. You have your evaluation framework. Either you do it by quarter, or you do it monthly, you do it weekly. You have evaluation framework to guide the process of implementation, right? So all of this will help you to use the money, use the funding, or either aid or funding rightly in alignment with what the donor be looking for, or they're expecting from your end or from the community they're supporting. Lastly, right? Lastly, budgeting. For evaluation framework. So let me just add some of this for maybe organization CEO or founders that are here. For framework, for you to design a very good framework, you should get an expert MIE person or a KM person, a learning management person that understand what framework should look like, right? For work plan, yeah, a programs person can do work plan, develop a narrative, build work plan, and the likes. But you need to have an expert. And for budget, so I said that because I want to talk about budget. Guys, for budget, you should have an expert account person, right? Account person or a finance person that understands. So we have a problem, right? From my experience evaluating grants process. So there is a problem. So not every accountant or a financial person understands NGO budgeting. So, and that's why you need to invest in getting expert, right? So, I mean, for people like me, I've done a bit, so I can develop budget, I can do framework. But it's actually not a day job, right? So it's something I've learned over the years. So, guys, budgeting is very important. So if I'm giving $100,000 or I'm giving $1 million, so I want to see the step-by-step allocation of resources. And you're not, so why are you budgeting? Because we don't want you to say you're spending $500 million on capacity building. We need to see who you are building. I mean, the people you are building their capacity. What are the things you need to build their capacity? So sometimes some donors are very rigid and they can tell you to, oh, we want to see what they're spending per person, right? So you want to train 200 persons. So what are you spending per person? So we want to see, and why budgeting again is because there are stipulated allocation by percentage for every project. So there are some that will tell you that direct costs should be 70%, while indirect costs should be around maybe 15% thereabouts. But there is a way it's being, and monetary and evaluation will take the remaining percentage. But there is a way it's being, arranged by item, right? And this helps them to know that you are prudent about their funding. So they want to see what you are investing on personnel costs, what you are incurring on personnel or admin costs, what you are spending on the project itself, right? They want to see what you're spending on communication, because so many organizations want to see your communications model. How do you make your work visible? How do you amplify your impact? They also want, because from amplifying your impact, you're amplifying the organization. For instance, German embassy supporting my project, right? So at the end of every of my program, I'll say thanks to German embassy for supporting. Or when I'm making flyer, I mean, Paul understand this very right? When I'm making my banner or something supported by. So they want to see all of this, right? So budget is very important, and you can have a very good narrative, you can have a very good work plan, MIE system, and if your budget is poor, some organization will not even consider telling you to readjust or share an idea with you. They will just tell you, oh, you can't manage funding. And for budget, so why do you need to have a very good budgeting system, right, for your projects? It's because they also want to see your integrity. They want to see if you're transparent, if you'll be transparent, if you'll be accountable. They also want to see, I laugh because we see this a lot. Interestingly, some of these INGOs now, they have African person as either a grant officer or someone that liaises with Africa. So in Africans, we understand ourselves. I've seen organizations that put 2 million to buy a system, a laptop. I've seen organizations that put, just like Nigeria budget or any African government budget, you see an office saying they are purchasing a laptop for 10 million. So it's not going to work because the person evaluating your grant application is an expert finance person that we, even if the person is in the US, and you're saying, for instance, you're saying you're buying a laptop, and interestingly, you want to implicate yourself, you're putting the model of the laptop, and you're saying you're buying it for 3 million, for instance. And the person will check the model of the laptop in maybe in the US or in the UK, and now convert whatsoever he or she is getting to naira. So these are some of the little downfall of why people are not getting, their grants approved or something. All right, so I know I'm running ahead because of time. Let me just please start noting your questions. I'm going to take everything, right? So at the end, we'll take everything. We'll talk about the elements. So let's talk about the components. So what are the components? What do we see to know, oh, this guy is really writing what makes sense? Writing with a clear understanding of what the project should look like, right? So the first thing is a project summary. Your proposal or your grant application should have a concise, clear summary. Summary that explain in maximum 2 paragraphs that explain, and sometimes some summary can be 100 words. Most of these organizations, when they give you template, they can restrict 250 words max, 300 words max. So sometimes I solely recommend that if you're not restricted to 100 or 150 words, your maximum summary should be 200 words. And your summary should explain your project from A to Z, right? From start to finish. So let them see that you have the capacity, you have the understanding of clear vision of what you want to do, and your organization has the capacity. You have track record to let them know, to convince them the more, right? So guys, that's a summary. The background is where storytelling starts now. So I talked about Marco Polo and not having to sell the bad side alone, but provide like a trajectory of the bad side, the implication, and what to be done. Right? So that's the background. So you're providing the political, economic, social, environmental, whatever environments in you're just building a context. So for background, it's good to always start with global view, right? Have a global data, right? So from global data, you now start streamlining to a national data. And if you're working in Ghana, you should streamline to your country's data. Wherever you work in, either in the UK or in the US or in the European countries. So you just have to bring it to what are the issues affecting your country, and you back it up with a lot of data, right? So and maybe you identify the problem that exists and briefly explain how your project will address it. I can't overemphasize this, guys. Please don't just create a problem like we are doing right across divides Nigeria and other countries. So don't just create a problem. Create a problem, provide solution. They want to see an organization that understands the basis and the system. If you're saying there are systemic issues, what are the issues? And how do you want to solve the systemic issues? So, guys, background for you. Another thing is goal. What is the goal of your project? The main purpose towards which and endeavor your project is directed to, right? So, what's the goal? Why do you want to implement the project? Why are you initiating that project? Why are you passionate about solving a problem you've identified? So, what's the purpose? Project objectives. Objectives should be SMART. So what is SMART? I know some of us will know the acronym SMART. So SMART is simple, measurable, attainable or achievable, realistic or reliable, and time bound, right? So let me take it again for the sake of people writing. SMART is simple, measurable. Your project must be simple, right? It should be measurable. We should be able to measure that 20 individuals will benefit, 100 persons will be the direct beneficiaries, right? And indirectly, you are imparting 10,000 lives, right? So it must be measurable to that extent. Attainable, it must be achievable, attainable. At least we should show some level of capacity to deliver the project, regardless of any factor, political influence, factors that could later come as hindrances or all this. You must show the capacity to say, oh, this is, we can do this in Lagos, we can do this in Abuja, we can even do the whole of Nigeria, right? So, yeah, realistic. Your project should be realistic. Don't say you want to turn Nigeria upside down. Or, for instance, you're getting a project on power or energy in Nigeria, and you now say, oh, I mean, the problem that the government has not been able to solve for how many years? And I said, with $100,000, don't worry, let's give me the money. I will solve the problem of electricity in Nigeria. Guys, it's not going to work, right? They are also, they have thought level. They also think and they know what is realistic, what is realistic for you. And time bound, which is the timeline. So you're not getting money for eternity. You're getting money for a particular period of time, for say 2 years, for say 6 months, for say 18 months, for say 1 year, 12 months. That's very important. And all of this should show in your project objectives, right? So this will help you to convince the donor or the funder the more, right? So, and address the specific need or problem identified in the background. So your project objective should connect to your background, right? So it helps you. It helps the person really to know that you are really interlinking all of this. You are not disconnected. Your thought line is straight, and you know what exactly you're looking for and what you want to do. So theory of change is just an advanced work plan. It established the missing middle. So you put it together. So if the input is this is going to be the output. So I always use this to explain theory of change. Where are we right now? Where were we before now? Where do we want to go? Someone is writing on the screen, guys. I don't know if it's Bash or something. So please stop writing on the screen. So where are we now? Where were we before now? Where are we going? That's it. Actually, theory of change, guys. Activities, project. Bash, you're writing on the screen. Can you stop? All right. Activities are just count. We say working around the components of a good grant application. Oh, please let me know when my time is off so that we take questions. So activities, I said they should be clearly stated, defined, clearly stated, clearly presented, right? And should be well developed. Don't say you can't do everything at a time. So you should even do some activities that will allow the donor to say, oh, let's scale up your work. The meaning of scale up is let's help you to scale up. Let's help you to, let's add more money to your money. Let's add more funding to your funding, and it helps you to do more work. So let your activities be very clear. Let it be very direct, and just let's be something that is quantifiable, right? It's not, like I said, you can't do everything at a time. So give them that benefit of supporting you again, but do a very concrete and a very well-developed work, right? So I talked about evaluation plan while I was explaining evaluation framework over time. So this will help you to the performance indicators. So what are the indicators from what you have identified, what you want to do? So bring the indicators together. That will help you to monitor. Are we making progress? Like I said the other time, when someone it's not a loan that can be, taken back. And I was jokingly saying it can be taken back. I'm actually talking about this place, evaluation plan. If you don't have a very good evaluation plan, If I give you money for the project and you're not delivering, I'll ask you to refund me because you're not delivering your project in line with what we want to do and what we plan to do with you, right? So you must have an evaluation plan that monitors the progress of the work. That will help you to build reports, submit a periodic report or a monthly report, something just to keep abreast of what is going on, right? So evaluate the success, and when you do things like this, you're able to identify maybe risk, what is not working well that should work, and the risk attached. So how do you mitigate all of this risk, right? So for instance, if you're working on something around democratic process or good governance, and the you're working within the election cycle, right? So maybe, for instance, 2027, you're having a prayer for 2027, and who knows, maybe the government will change. So there is tendency that the political changing or whatever is happening within the political system will affect your project. So you must have this foresight, and all of this will come through evaluation. I mean, something very important again is having to display your capacity as an organization, which is your organizational background. This provides a lot of information. I mean, not limited to what I have here, guys. It provides a lot of information. It provides your track record. Why is the organization existing? The passion behind it, the brain behind it, the people involved, your board, and I mean, when I say this, I also need to let you know that for organization, most organizations will give grants to organizations that are well grounded already. Yeah, we've been fighting this. I remember when the US Africa diaspora and guys came to Nigeria, I was invited to make a presentation, and these are some of the things uh, done by Joe Biden last year. So I was invited to make a presentation. But these are things we raised with them, that if you're giving money to only organization that has been branded, I mean, that has track record, I mean, in quotes now, we will be depriving the real people that are working in the local communities, right? So the big organizations are in Abuja, in Lagos, getting big money, but the organization down to grassroots are doing a lot of work. So how do we create system? But in the international sense of it, you have to show your your track record, your capacity, and you have to show some level of understanding of for instance, if you are working in Lagos and you want to apply for a project in Ondo State, then you have to show them that you have the capacity to work in Ondo State by telling them how you have worked there before now, right? So, I mean, for organizations that have hub of volunteers like Aquaworld, I know you're able to say, oh, you work in Lagos, you work in London, you work in social places because you have people and you have grand experience. So your background, your organizational background should show. Sometimes you also need to tell them that, oh, we have policy in place. If you're applying for a grant that has to do with children, right? Maybe vulnerable young people, right? So we should have some policy that state clearly your organization's allegiance to the rights of children, right? Maybe the child rights policy, sexual harassment policy, all of these policies should be in place. If you're working on gender, you should have gender policy. So they want to see all of this. They also want to, part of your experience, they want to see that, oh, you have gotten funding from some notable organization before. And if you have not gotten that, you've not received or collected funding from notable organization, it's not a problem. But they want to see all of this so they know that you have the integrity, you have the credibility to get their money. And lastly, budget notes. So some organization, when they give you budget templates, they will include budget notes. So where you're able to explain what you have in your budget. So if you are saying your unit is 5, and per unit is $1,000 or $2,000, and when 5, that's $10,000. So they want you to explain, okay, times maybe the number of months, maybe 12 months. So you just have to multiply. And they want you to explain that, okay, this also. So if you're saying you have 5 staff on a project, the budget notes we are able to explain, oh, okay, this 5 staff, we are not paying them fully on this project. This person is bringing 30%. This person is bringing 70%. This person is bringing 50%, and the likes. Sometimes some of this application, especially when it's unsolicited, comes with pre-award questionnaires. They want you to feel it, just to understand what you have been able to do in the past, how you also align with their organization objectives. For instance, if you're getting some funding, now they will ask you, do you believe in diversity, equity, and inclusion? Right. So you know what that means if you are within the sector. So they want to know through their questionnaire, right? So other appendices is just maybe they're asking you to attach your registration certificate, your EFCC's form certificate, the school must form or something certificate now. Some of the little registrations that I mean, sometimes they specifically ask you for your audit report. Uh, if you have financial audits, I mean, that's if you can't be applying for grants if you don't have bank accounts, either in dollars or in your country currency. And that means you should have an audit report, you should have your CSC registration, you should have your budget, annual budget, your what else again? I mean, it's a lot, but you should have uh, your annual reports. Yeah, annual reports is also very important. They want to see what you have done in the past and the likes. But if you're just starting and you don't have all of this, there is always a way you can package yourself, right? So major reasons proposals are not funded. Guys, I guess this should be my last slide actually. All right, so what are the major reasons? Donor does not believe you understand the problem. Yeah, they are asking you to work with 12 to 18 or 18 to 25, and they are writing for 35 to 50 years old people. They definitely know that you don't understand the problem. If you are, talking about an idea or initiative or a problem, and you're not able to connect the dots, right? You're not able to connect the dots. You're not able to explain, convincingly. You are not able to put the right words together. I mean, storytelling has a lot to play here, right? So, guys, if that is what it is, you're not gonna get funding. Number two, believe in your solution. They don't believe in your solution. Donors do not believe in your solution. They believe you are that chat. What was that? GPT or AI, your your grant is AI generated. I don't want to go into that actually because I don't want to create some. But I know guys are right with AI, and I want to say it's not bad to write with AI. Yeah, it's actually not bad to write with AI. But the question is, are you able to connect your top line? Are you able to connect the dots? So that's why most referrals that are within this ecosystem, we discourage writing with AI if you are not able to connect the top line, the problem, and what the donor wants. So yeah, if your solution is not correlating, it's not aligned, they just throw it off, they trash it off. You are not qualified. Qualification is also very important, right? So I stated those things that will be required. And if you are not able to submit your registration certificate, you don't have a board list, you don't have a board meeting, all of those things. You don't have an incorporated constitution or certificate or certification. You don't have an annual report. You don't have an audit report. Guys, you are not qualified. They're gonna throw it. So your budget is not trusted. Donor does not believe or trust your budget. Guys, you see that this budget thing is coming again. Budget is very important. You can have a good narrative. Your MIE framework can be very good and excellent, superb. But if your budget is not coherent, if they're sensing some foul play, so let me also say this, that you can add plus or minus 500 to your budget. For instance, if something is $7,000, you can say $7,500. I think plus or minus 500 to 1,000 to your budget to just push it up a bit because of inflation. But it's going to be outrageous to say something worth 3,000. You are budgeting 17,000, right? So it's just going to be too outrageous, and they will know that you're not trusted. You just want to get this money. If you can put 17,000 and you put a budget note that justify justifies it very well, which I don't believe is going to work. But if you're able to do that, that's fine. But guys, your budget must be trusted. And your process, your compliance process should also explain your credibility and your integrity as an organization, right? So that's also one thing that we, over the time, over the years, seen as fallout for proposals. So another thing is proposal does not follow set guideline. I said it, there's going to be a template. Uh, excuse me. So if there's no template, there must be set guidelines that you follow. They're saying you should write within 500 words or 250 words, and you're writing 1,000 because you have passion and you want to speak to your passion. You want to tell them that you understand, guys. You're just wasting your time. They read within, and interestingly enough, they develop a lot of AI, tools that evaluate. So all of this, you can imagine the grant I talked about while I was telling you about Solicitor. Like, you imagine the number of people that will be reading. So they may not really have the time to evaluate 1,000 proposals. So there's an AI tool that we just use to do thorough evaluation. And what they do is to put some keywords. So those are the keywords, just like evaluating CV, right? So the keywords are things they want to see. And if it's not following the guideline of the keywords or the templates are not being populated rightly, if some organizations or donor agencies will tell you we want you to write within font so with this character or all of this. So you have to digest and understand this all very well, and now submit. But if not, you're gonna get rejected straight up. Proposal is not submitted outside. Sorry, is submitted outside the deadline. This is also very important. I talked about time band the other time. So for this proposal, the one I shared the other time, I think it's closing is 12th or 17th of February thereabout. So if you are submitting anything after 18th of February, anything after 17th of February, it's gone. Not even 12:01. Recently we submitted an application, so it was a UK-based application, and on their portal, some of these organizations, especially the high level NGOs, they have portals where you submit. So on their portal, the timing is already there. So, and interestingly, immediately it was time, the portal closed. Like, so you don't even need to say you are refreshing. It's closed and shut down immediately. So guys, you have to work within the deadline. If it's February, and some organization also put timing. Yeah, so I think I'll tell you about that timing. If they're saying five, and you need to be very sure. So if you're applying from maybe from an organization in the UK now, they will put GMT plus nothing. That's like the real GMT. So let me put that to perspective right now. So if your GMT is GMT plus 2, wait for our Africans brother around the call. If your GMT is GMT plus 2, GMT plus 3, plus 4, it has nothing to do with GMT 0 that it's on the application. So you must have to revert back to calculate to that GMT plus whatsoever the donor is asking for, right? So for us in Nigeria, we are GMT plus 1, right? For UK currently it's GMT plus 0. So you just have to understand all of this. So you submit, and there are some they will not put GMT, some will put UCT, especially or PCT or something if you're applying along the Pacific or you're applying from US-based organization. So you also need to understand if you're applying from US-based organization. So you need to calculate by GMT. So all you need to do, put it in Google. What's the so time convert to your time, your country time, right? So it helps you to know the deadline. For if you're in GMT plus 1 and an application is GMT minus 8, you still have an advantage, right? So you calculate and still submit within that period. And lastly, Professor was unsolicited. So I've explained sometimes if you submit when it's not solicited, they'll reject it, right? So you don't just submit and say, oh, I'm going to UN House today. I want to go and submit a proposal to them. Are they asking, do you have trivial information that they're asking for unsolicited? If not, if you submit, it's not going to be funded. All right. So I just added this. I don't know, Paul, do I still have time? Just confirm, please. Do I still have time to move on?
5 minutes.
5 minutes is not going to do me to do this one. Okay, so let me just say. So what is resource mobilization? So resource mobilization, and I added this particularly for people here that you run your NGO already, you have an organization already. So resource mobilization is a process of getting resources from donors, statutory institution. I mean, other service providers using different mechanisms to implement your organization project. So what you do basically, while you're saying you're writing grant and developing proposals, you are sourcing for resources, which is like the resource mobilization aspect. Okay, so let me just take this. Donor mapping. So what do you do when you do donor mapping? And I'm adding donor mapping because a lot of organizations doesn't understand the concept of sourcing for funding. But one of the basic elements to do while sourcing for funding is donor mapping and profiling. Take a front seat, in your organization and say today or for the next 1 month, these are our thematic areas. We want to do donor mapping. Of course, I do this. I consult on donor mapping. If you want to consult, if you want me to consult for your organization, please reach out to me. Paul already said I have liberty to market. I'm my venture.
Yes, so yes.
But okay. All right, guys. So yeah, this is what you do when you donor map. When you do donor mapping, you get contact details, funding requirements, matching interest, funding cycle, application procedure, location, contact person, and the like. So, okay, so I can take this. So when you fundraise or you're sourcing for funding, what are the dynamics or funding elements? We talked about so many of these things. So funding sources. So how do you get funding? There are internal funding, there are external funding. You can generate it externally or internally, right? So you can generate from national funding, right? Sources, international sources. Interestingly, there are a lot of organizations in Nigeria that are giving funding. People are not aware. Informations are scarce because you are not getting it. You are not looking for them. There are real information that we should be interested in as people within the development ecosystem, right? So these are some of it, but I can tell you there are more to it. Official, unofficial, governmental. There are government agencies that support organizations. There are government agencies that say, oh, okay, we are working on climate change and we are doing Ministry of Environment is doing. I know Paul attended the meeting sometimes last year that has the Minister of Ocean, Blue, Economic and Ocean, something. So there are opportunities in all our MDAs, either federal MDAs or state MDAs that should be leverage for you to get funding. And we have private funding, private, I've talked about it, your First Bank, your corporate organizations, your Pepsi, your 7-Up, your Coca-Cola, your Indomie. We've seen Indomie going to schools to build recreational materials, right? These are part of their corporate social responsibility. They will not do it if you do not ask them. They're not gonna do it. Sometimes if they have the clear mind, they will do, but sometimes they will not do intentionally because nobody is holding them accountable. Nobody is presenting data to show that you guys are when you are in this community, things are getting bad. What can you do to support? I've been to schools that MTN brought desk, brought a lot of stuff, repainted it and do a lot of renovations and the likes. So on this note, I hope I've been able to convince guys. I've been able to convince you, not to confuse you the more, because we're gonna go to I don't know how many minutes of questions Q&A. Paul is gonna moderate that, but I hope you've enjoyed your time staying here on the call to learn about the basic knowledge around grants, right? And I can tell you this is not basic. Because I actually do some work to, make it not just basic knowledge, have an expanded knowledge. And these are things you can still go over and over again. There are courses online. YouTube has a lot of opportunities for you to learn, relearn again, add more knowledge, develop your technical writing skill, and do a lot of fun. Thank you so much, guys. I truly appreciate it. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Paul.
Thank you so much, Mr. Alfred, for the wonderful session. I believe for those that waited through the session, you now believe when I say that the facilitator we are bringing on board for grant writing is a global expert. Right, this is another wonderful session that we should all take advantage of. This is a great session. So let's appreciate Mr. Alfred Akerele in the session. Let's appreciate him. It's